Ladies and gentlemen, our guest speaker today, this gentleman hails in Dallas, Texas. I met him, was it 8 years ago? About 8 years ago in Dallas. Him and his lovely wife were out, and I was out, and we chit-chatted and got to talking. And matter of fact, they just celebrated Thursday their 10th year anniversary. And then he left there and he moved to Australia with his lovely wife for about 3 years or so. But watch this. He kept renewing. He kept renewing. He kept renewing. The business and company he worked for took him over there, and he kept renewing, kept renewing. He got a few things going in Australia, but he kept renewing and kept renewing. He hung in there. In other words, he kept the faith. And he said, "Miss Thomas, I'm not doing very much. I'll keep renewing, but I'm kept renewing." Then he got back on U.S. soil, and he said, I'm gonna pick things up, sir. I'm gonna pick things up because I want to have a family. Me and my wife have a family. We talked about it, and I need to be able to get off my job and get busy. And I've flown. I made a commitment to come down to Dallas every 2 to 3 weeks, and I kept coming, kept coming, kept coming, kept coming. But I just want to tell this young man, I really appreciate him, admire him, and I appreciated him still hanging in there and renewing. The race is not given to the swift. It's given to those that see the end of the finish line. And sometimes it takes a while to get there. But as long as you hang in here, he will send those people your way. You just got to hang in there. And this young man, I'm so proud. He's went out and got 465 personal customer points. 465 points. And he's a friend. He's a friend. He's a friend. I make everybody, he's a friend. And we've had great conversations and stuff off and on ACN. But without further ado, so can we give a warm welcome to none other than Mr. Jomar Sharp?
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Thank you so much for that warm introduction, and thank you for also showing appreciation to everybody on the call, because I think it's a testament to even be on this call on a Saturday night, because there's so many things going on, and you can be with family, friends, and you could even be just doing your laundry, whatever it is. So I know that I just want to say also that I'm appreciative of every single one of you being on this call. Because ACN is important to me. Mr. Thomas, you're important to me, and each and every one of you are important to me for being on here. So I hope I can, share a little bit of insight and just a little bit of, I guess, some tips that I utilize just to get that 465 personal points. But Mr. Thomas, you are a friend. You will always be a friend. And one thing that my wife just recently reminded me is that you were actually at our wedding 10 years ago. Yep. 10 years ago. So just you are a friend and have been. So thank you for everything you do. And you guys, I was starting to get a little emotional when Mr. Thomas started talking, because it's been ups and downs and rough patches, but he's right. I stuck in. And I just remember one of the things Mr. Thomas said: if you want to be successful in this business, never, ever give up. And that's it. That's why I kept renewing. So thank you, Mr. Thomas. All right. And so also, I just want to throw a little caveat in here. This hat, so I don't normally wear hats on the call, but this one I wore just to say, because it actually has the word Dad Gang. It's one of my new favorite hats, just because I'm a new daddy. So pretty much everywhere I go, I have some type of dad shirt on or hat or something. So I'm always really excited. So I just wanted to do that to really just honor my baby girl that was born 7.5 weeks ago. So and so trying to take some time away from her just to be on this call and plan everything. So I'm just gotta honor her for a moment. So all right, so let's get to it. 465 points, and actually I'll say it's 467 now. As of today, I had put in another customer just this afternoon. So, but we'll stick to the 465. It sounds good. It's a good round number. And a little story about that customer today, which is going to lead me into the topic. And the big thing that how I got to the one of the reasons how I got to 465, um, there was I attended Texas A&M University, and from time to time I like to go to the football games. And there's one local here in Dallas. It's called the Southwest Classic. We play Arkansas, and a friend called me up a couple of days ago and said, "Hey, would you like to go? I've got some free tickets. We might be able to get you into the suite, so some free food, some free beverages." So I said, "Yeah, oh, sure, let's go. I'm going." I was like, "Honey, I know our baby girl is 7.5 weeks. Can I just get a couple of hours to go to the game?" So she said yes. But at that time, the game started at 11. But then the following day, I had a friend message me. He finally followed back. I followed up with him a couple of times, and he had recommended his mom to consider me for electricity because his household, he was able to save hundreds of dollars. So he recommended me to his mother, and he followed up with me and said, "Hey, are you able to get on a call at 11 o'clock, between 11 and 11:15, to help get my mother signed up for electricity?" And I was like, "No, the game starts at 11. What am I gonna do? I had to get there. There's gonna be traffic. So if I wait to leave the house, it's gonna be all of this." And so I was like, "Okay, no, no." I had to ask myself, am I serious about this business? Am I going to make the sacrifice, or am I going to try to put it aside? Oh, how about 1 o'clock? How about maybe later tonight, and put things off? But what I realize is, if I'm not serious about this business, the people that I speak to won't be serious about taking me seriously. And so that's one of the aspects that I really had to, had a coming to Jesus moment. It's like, if I'm not serious, how can I expect a customer to want to take me seriously? How can I expect a potential business partner to take me seriously? And so what I did, I took my tablet with me. I had my phone on hotspot and sat in the car in the parking lot in 95-degree weather on the phone, helping that customer get signed up, because I told myself I am committed to this business. I am committed to making a difference for my family, for increasing myself, increasing my family's wealth, and also, biggest thing is being able to help others, because being able to help my friend and also being able to help his mom save hundreds of dollars every single year. It means a lot to me, because that's money that can go back towards their family, money that can go back towards gifts. My friend has 4 children. So Christmas is coming up. So that $200 he was able to save in the last 2 or 3 months, that can help go towards those Christmas gifts and things like that, just to make the holidays a little more special for the kids. So so just telling you that story, because we think sometimes, oh, we're too busy. Oh, well, we've got this, and we'll make up all these excuses. And one of the key things that I made the decision was that I was no longer going to make the excuse. And that's really how I got to 465, no longer making the excuse. So for me, some people will train on focusing on your weakness. Let's develop your weakness. Try this new thing. It's you've got, with ACN, you've got peaking, you've got presenting, you've got to close them, you've got to recruit, you've got to inspire, you customer. There's all these different aspects to the business and moving parts. And many people might train on, hey, that one thing you don't like to do, you've got to do it. And I do that. I test myself. I step out of my comfort zone. But then also I was like, hey, I've also got to realize, what am I good at? What am I good at? Because when I think about the most successful business people in the world, so like, let's say Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, he's not the one in the warehouse soldering little microchips together. He's not the one on the phone with some chip maker or circuit board maker or the screen, or he's not LCD and all this. He's not the one on the phone making those conversations, because that's not his strength. That's not his focus. And so for me, what I realized when I took a step back, I realized one of my biggest strengths is customer acquisition. So I said, you know what? I'm going to continue to focus on that. And through focusing on that, I will also step out of my comfort zone when those opportunities come up, challenge myself. But what is it? And I ask you to, or suggest you write this question down and really think about it. When you think about all the aspects of the business, ask yourself, write this question down tonight when you go to bed, in the morning. What part of this business am I good at? And I think if you take that and then think, how can I make that better? How can I make that better? And so that's where I started. I said, you know what? I'm good at customer acquisition. If I can get someone on the phone to just say, hey, what is it that you do? If I can get to that question, I can pretty much at least close them on becoming a customer. And so that's where I focused. But then I said, you know what? I've got a baby girl coming up. You know, my wife was 7 months. This is when I really made the decision. My wife was 7 months pregnant. And I said, my daughter is going to be here and I'm still going to be stuck at, I think I was at like 180 points. And I'm like, yes, that's great, but I still wasn't maximizing the compensation plan. So what am I going to do? And I committed to moving the needle from, I think it was about a 160 or something like that, to as far as I could go. And all it was me thinking, what about this business am I good at? And what can I do to make that better? And when I thought about those two questions, I then thought, where am I going to get those customers from? So then I rolled back to, okay, ACN, one of the wealth principles, and Mr. Thomas, that night that we met, we talked about in Turtle Creek, one of the words I had never heard before in my life, but I think about it daily, multiple times a day. It starts with the L and ends in average. Leverage. When you talked about the wealth principles and things and really just shared with me at this restaurant, this bar, we're off in the corner. He's just sharing these wealth principles, all these ideas and concepts. And I'm just like blown away. And I was like, there's something different about this guy. And leverage was one of the words that stuck out to me. And I actually went home that night and started Googling leverage. I was like, I don't even know what that is, because engineering background, I understand leverage in the sense of, well, you got to use, weights to lever. It's a lever, and you use leverage and things like that, forces and mass and all, but I didn't understand it in any other aspect outside of that. So it was like leverage this is a new word to me. This is a brand new word. And so when I thought about where am I getting these customers, leverage, there are hundreds and thousands of people, in the DFW area, what is there, 7 million people? So why can't I'm not going to be able to meet every single one of them. But what I do know is if I meet one person, that's going to open me up to their network of, let's say, 200 people. For instance, of course, it's more than that when you talk about social media and things like that, and then who they're connected to. But let's just say one person could open me up to 200. And then if I meet another person, that maybe opens me up to 50. And so what I said, how am I going to meet those people? So this is all, how can I get better? How can I get to where I'm trying to get to? So it's little bite-sized pieces. And so I really had to just, I was waking up, this is a true story. I'm waking up at 4 a.m. because at 6 a.m. that's when I had to start my day. So I'd wake up 4:30 a.m. and just read a book, or I'm sitting in the living room, quiet, just peaceful quiet. And this was earlier this year, and I'm like, okay, almost anxious in anticipation of the arrival of my daughter, and like making sure, okay, is my wife going to be set? Do we have everything? What about the crib? This and that, And so I'm thinking, like, what am I going to do differently to change what I've been doing? And I said, you know what? I'm going to commit to meeting new people. I got on Eventbrite. I got on Facebook events and started trying to find the events in the area, networking events, the councils in the area, everything I could go to, I would just go. And I committed to going to at least 2 to 3 events per week. consistently, even if it was for 30 minutes, even if it was a 2-hour event and I was an hour and a half late, I'm going to go because I'm committed to go, because who knows, that one person I meet could be the person that completely changes my business. And let me tell you, that actually happened. I went to one event and this was a day where I did not want to go. Had a long day at work. I was upset, to say the least, frustrated. Had those moments in the car where, you know, I waved at some people with one finger, or I felt like I wanted to, I should say. Kind of one of those days. And I know we all have them, right? But because I committed to going, I went. I was late. Oh, well, but I was there. And I met one lady at that event that introduced me, that led me. So between her signing up as a customer, people she knows, family members, people that they know, they referred me in the last 2 months, this one person I met, this one lady I met, and helped me to obtain 247 customer points just from one lead. One lead. And so when Mr. Thomas says one person can completely change your business, it's a phrase, he says it. You know, sometimes, you know, Mr. Thomas, we think he's just saying these things, they sound good, they sound nice, but it's true. And that is a living testament of that. One lead led me to 247 customer points and counting. I've got a message just today. I've got an appointment set up with another customer tomorrow. I've got an appointment set up on Monday. I got another appointment set on Tuesday. All this came through today from that person leading to me, this person and that person, 247. So I want to share with you guys what I do when I go to a networking event, because I think we talk about going and meeting people and how do we network, because it's not easy. It's nerve-wracking, it's nervous. So I want to talk to you about, share with you kind of a step-by-step on what I do. Does that sound okay for everybody? All right. Okay. So when I think about a networking event, people who are going to networking event, they're going for a reason, right? They're always selling. Someone's always selling something. They're selling themselves because they want a new job. They're selling a product. They're trying to sell this new book that they wrote. Whatever it is, they're selling something. And so what I realized, if I go to an event and I'm selling something, and I say use the word sell with air quotes, is I'm trying to present myself or pique someone. What I'm doing is I'm putting myself in a place where I'm just like every single person at that event, and I'm not standing out from the crowd. So what I do is I'll go to the event, and instead of trying to, oh, this is what I do, here's my business card, and oh, well, look at me, I'm in a nice suit. I just go up to people, and the first question, this is the key question I always ask. It's the best introduction. If you're an introvert, this is the best introduction question you can use. Hey, have you been to one of these before? Boom. They're going to answer yes or no. If they say no, oh, me too. They're going to respond, oh, really? Well, where are you from? Where this and this? Well, how did you find out about it? It starts the conversation. Hey, have you been to one of these before? Or, hey, is this your first time at one of these? It's the simplest question to break the ice, because I know sometimes it's daunting to try to figure out, well, what do I say to that person? How do I say hello? Is this your first time here? It's not confrontational. It's just nice and simple. And that starts and sparks the conversation. And from there, the next step is ensure that they feel like your attention is 100% on them. Make them feel like they are the most important person in the room. Make them feel like you are there only to hear their story. Make them feel that you are only there to understand what they're trying to, air quote, sell. Because if you can do that, you are immediately building rapport with that person. That person subconsciously will put you above anyone else that they meet because they're going to think, wow, that Deborah, she really made me feel special. I should catch up with a cup of coffee with her. She was amazing. Matter of fact, I don't even know what she does. Why wouldn't they know? Because what you're doing is what's the number one topic that everyone loves to talk about? Everyone's number one topic is to talk about themselves. So the more that you can get someone to talking about themselves, subconsciously, that person is going to feel like you are a trustworthy person. And you're right, Christine, if they can feel that feeling, then they are going to be open to even listening to anything you have to say. Whether you want to introduce ACN, whether you're introduce them becoming a customer, saving money here or benefiting them there, no matter what it is, they're going to be more open to it. And so that's all I do. And the way that I close, I ask them questions, build rapport, and then how I close with that conversation. So, because I'm there, I want to make sure they feel special, but I'm also there so I can meet as many people as possible. And eventually, the conversation starts to slow down. You say, wow, this is so interesting. It's actually really fascinating. So still compliment them. Make sure you're complimenting them. And then say, I'd love to catch up over a coffee or lunch one day this week. This week, make sure you put in this week, or if maybe it's a Friday, say next week. Because when you put a timestamp on it, it puts a little bit of pressure on that person to think, oh, okay, they're really interested in getting to know me very soon. Because as we know, we have all these things going on in our lives. We get distracted. There's everything happening in the world. There's things happening at home, children doing this, neighborhood watch that. It's all these things going on. So people get distracted. So if you can set a time, almost what we learn in ACN, you're talking them to the next event. You're introducing the next event. That next event that you're introducing them to is that coffee meetup or that lunch that you're going to. Moving to the next event, and you're putting a time frame on it, because if you don't put a timestamp on it, that could be tomorrow, that could be a year from now, 4 years, 5 years. And if you can get them to commit, yeah, that'd be great. Now you've got them confirmed on wanting to meet with you within that time frame, whether it's this week or next week. And I say from there to meet this week to chat more about insert whatever they were discussing, because remember, you were paying attention to them. So you regurgitate or repeat what they said back. So that also confirms that you were paying attention to them, right? And so that also makes them feel more obligated to want to sit down with you, because this person, they listened to me. I was able to talk about myself. And you know what? They're really interested in hearing more about me. Yes, I want to sit down with a cup of coffee with you, Mr. Tim. I want to sit down with you, Miss Hannah. I want to sit down with you, Victor. TJ, you know what? Yes, I want to sit down and have a cup of coffee with you, because you know what? Subconsciously, you made me feel important. You made me feel important. So I do want to spend the time to sit down with you and share more about their favorite topic, me. But what that does, you can also introduce in that conversation, it's never one-sided at that coffee meetup, because now they're curious. They realize now, a couple of days have passed, you've just been asking them questions. And they're like, I don't really know what does Tom and Susan Ford do? What do they do? Now I'm curious. Rick, that was a great chat, but I don't really know what Rick does. Huh. Yeah. So at that coffee chat and that lunch, they're going to start asking you questions because they're curious. And boom, you got them. So what is it that you do? Like Mr. Thomas, got him now. I got him now. And that's it. That's it. That's something. You meet Yoda networking event, you meet them. Key thing, make them feel special. Make them feel like they're the only person in the room. Make them feel like if you didn't make it to that event and speak to them, the whole meeting event was a waste of time. Make them feel special. Then at the end, close to invite them to the next event. Move them to the next event that should happen within the next 5 to 7 days. You've made the rapport, you build the rapport, that person feels special. But then just simply, that was interesting, that was fascinating. I love to catch up over a cup of coffee or maybe lunch one day this week or next week to chat more about whatever they discussed. And then I also sometimes throw this in at the end. I say, and maybe even share a little bit more about what I do. Because then it plants the seed in their mind. They realize, I don't really kind of know what you do, but you're interesting enough. I'll come and have a cup of coffee with you. And that's how it led me to the one lady I met at the networking event, who led me to her becoming a customer, to her introducing me to some colleagues that she works with. Colleagues introduced me to their family members, to those family members introducing me to a coworker or a friend or this, and it just started to fizzle out, and or spread out, I should say, like a spider web. And from there, that network just continued to go, just from meeting one lady at one event and making her feel special. Because I can tell you, at that coffee catch up I had with her, it was an hour and a half. It's an hour longer than I anticipated, but she was enjoying talking about herself. So I let her talk. I let her talk. And then it was an hour, and at an hour and 20 minutes, yep, talk. Oh, wow, really? Wow. So really, is that make them feel special? And then at an hour and 20 minutes, she realized, wait, I haven't even asked a question about you and what you do. Yes. But at that point, she was already built rapport. She was so excited. We were basically friends because I knew personal things about her, but just because I'm asking questions. How are you? What about this? And your mom, wow, you're going to a wedding that you met this lady. Wow. Oh, wow. That's great. That's unique. You know, just compliment, share in the experience as they're telling the story. And that is how you build the customer base. That is what led me to 465 customer points, is just building the rapport with people that I know, because even in some cases it's friends. I've done this with as well. Same thing. Hey, I haven't caught up with you in a while. Let's catch up over a cup of coffee. Catch up with them because I know they're moving soon. I hear they're moving or something on social media. I say, let's catch up. I haven't caught up in a while. They sign up as a customer. Hey, by the way, that was so smooth. I know someone else that's moving. Boom, leads to another customer. So we have to really step back and think, what are the things that we can do better that we're already good at? And that for me was customer acquisition. And by doing those small things, that's what helped me to get to those 465. Now, I'm just going to add a few more pro tips. I call them pro tips. I'm not a pro, but I just like the phrase pro tip. But I just, in my conversation too, when and I'll usually follow up via text message. Once I get the contact, they say, yep, we exchange details. I'll follow up either that afternoon. If say it's a mid-lunch, I'll follow up that afternoon with a message. It was great meeting you. Looking forward to what day works for you best. I'm available this day. So I push towards that with immediately. If it was an evening event, I'll wait till the morning, but I make sure I'm sending them a message before lunch, before lunch while I'm still fresh on their brain. They still have those endorphins that they experience when talking to me because they felt special. So what I don't, but the words I do not use because people don't want to be sold to, it's too close to salesman type speak. So I stay away from the words, I am following up with you. I am following up, that's salesman speak. You never want to say, I am following up. It feels transactional. No one wants to feel like, hey, I'm following up with you on that. It's it just doesn't feel good, right? Who wants to feel like, oh, I'm following up with you on that appointment? When's a good time? You lose everything at that point. And another phrase that I don't use is per my last message. Ooh, that's oh that's not good. Because then at that point, per your last message, who are you? Who speaking to me like that? What? No. So just to give you kind of on the other side, some of the phrases I like to use that I found that are good for me is just a simple phrase. I am looking forward to hearing more about what you do. If they haven't responded and you want to follow up with them, send a message. I am looking forward to hearing more about what I am looking forward to our coffee catch up potentially on Tuesday. So that's one of the phrases I like to use. And another phrase, if I haven't heard from them, and sometimes people they ghost me for a couple of days, I'll send a message saying, please let me know when's a good time for us to chat. Please let me know when's a good time. Because the key thing, we always hear the fortune is in the follow-up. So ensure that you're following up, but do not use the salesman type speak. I am following up with you to see coffee. So those are some tips that I just would like to share with my experience in getting to 465 personal customer point for 467 personal customer points. And so I really hope that was helpful. But I want to share just one last thing here, because this really was the key, the ultimate key to what really changed everything in my ACN business, was this phrase: the minute you realize your worth, you shift your energy to attract new people who respect your worth. It starts with you first. Feel free to take a screenshot, write it down. But this is one of those phrases that stuck to me. And even as I share it with you guys, I feel the emotion in my chest from it, because sometimes we feel like we don't have the worth. Sometimes we feel like, or we get, pushed down, people's comments. Some people just don't see the vision that we do, and so they might throw negative words your way, or try to hinder you, or say, oh yeah, Jomar's doing one of those things, yeah, be careful, don't talk to him too long because he's going to try to get you in one of those things. So we've over the years, we've heard them all. We've heard all these things and hindrances, but this was the key for me. The minute you realize your worth, you shift your energy to attract new people who respect your worth. It starts with you first. So that's all I have. I'm just really thankful for you guys being on the call. I really hope that this has been helpful. I know usually I have slides. I do apologize, I didn't have slides today. Trying to get some slides in with the baby who's up at 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock rock. It's challenging, but I did want to at least share some of the tips that I had, because I think the most important thing is when you're speaking to someone, if you can make them feel special, that opens the door to the conversation that you can have with them and follow up with them, because that is the key. Because above all things, we're all people. And what do we all want to feel? Special. We want to feel loved. We want to feel like somebody cares. We want to feel that we're heard. So make sure that you're through this business. You're not just pushing yourself, trying to push your business, trying to, oh, I got to get another customer. Make sure you're hearing the person that you're talking to, because if you listen to them, they'll tell you exactly what they're looking for. They'll tell you exactly what they want. So that's all I had. Just want to